Are you praying and praying and praying and not seeing answers? Well, today we're going to give you a key to answered prayer that you might be overlooking. I'm Dave Early. Thanks for joining us. We're in the middle of a 21 days of prayer challenge. Today we're on day 11, and we're talking about a prayer plan, tacos, Thanksgiving, adoration, confession, praying for others, praying for yourself. We got to talk about confession because it says in Psalm 66:18 that if we have sin in our heart, God's not going to hear our prayers. You can pray all you want. He's not listening. The only prayer He's listening to is forgive me, not praying for other things. Isaiah 59, it says God is able to save, God is able to work, but your sins have separated you from God, and He's not hearing, He's not working because sin is a barrier. So, you got to understand, sin does not lead to answers. It blocks answers to prayer. We got to have a confession of sin. We got to have a clean heart. We've got to have a clear conscience if we want God to really answer our prayers. 1 John 3 says, if our conscience is clear, we can have confidence that whatever we're asking God, He's hearing us. He's answering. Psalm 51 is David crying out for forgiveness. He's confessing sin. You know the story. David, he midlife crisis, didn't go out to battle when he should have, up late at night, sees a lady across the way, taking a bath, beautiful lady, and the rest of the story is he commits adultery with Bathsheba, and then sets it up so her husband is murdered. And then God, He doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't confess it. He's getting eaten up by guilt, eaten up by shame, and God sends the prophet Nathan to point out to David that David is the man who is guilty. So David's response, he cries out to God. He says, have mercy upon me. Have mercy upon me, God. Blot out my transgressions. Wash away my sins. Cleanse me. God, cleanse my heart. Wash me and I'll be clean. Don't hide your face from me. Hide your face from my sins. Blot out my unrighteousness. He's crying out to be clean. You need to be forgiven. You need to be clean if you want your prayers to have power, if you want God to be answering your prayers. There's three things we all need to do. We need to admit the sin. Okay, just when in doubt, confess it out. Admit the sin. God, if you admit the sin, confess the sin, admit it, God's faithful and just to forgive the sin and cleanse you from all unrighteousness. We need to acknowledge the wrong. We need to acknowledge that we have done wrong. When sin is covered, it's not conquered, it's not cleansed. But when sin is uncovered, and we bring it into the light, then we can conquer it, then God can cleanse it. And we got to accept the forgiveness. Psalm 51 is David crying out for forgiveness. Psalm 32 is David thanking God for it. He starts out this psalm saying, blessed is the one whose sins have been forgiven. May you enjoy that blessedness today of having a clean heart, a clear conscience, confessing your sin, and knowing God is listening when you pray.